Welcome back to Culture and Caves, where we sit back and reflect on the things that make us feel and also shape how we feel and shape our future. I'm your host, Chisomo, and today's episode is a very deep one and a bit personal. We're talking about mental health in an African household, and this topic also shapes how we feel as people, as individuals. And again, I'm joined by my co-host, Mulenga.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited about this episode because I am a mental health blogger and I've been writing about mental health for the past 7 years. And this is something that's close to my heart. This is something that I genuinely care about. And I pray and hope that people get something out of this, because this episode is, though it's, based in Africa, it is for everybody, because everybody's mental health matters. So we're excited about this episode. Let's get into it.
And because it's culture and curves, we're not just talking about culture. The curve side is about how we feel. It's about the unexpected turns, and this is why we're talking about mental health today and why it is so important. And also, please share this video to your friends, like, comment, and subscribe. Are you ready for today's episode?
I'm ready. It's about to get real deep and personal.
Let's get it. All right, Mo.
Okay.
What does mental health mean to your family or community?
To my family, it means being able to be open and say what's going on. To my community, it's a completely different conversation. I mean, what does it mean to you and to your family and your community? Because we come from the same community.
Kinda. I mean, we are in a way. We do come from the same community and stuff, I think. But in my family, I mean, it's just me and my mom mostly, and my brother.
Yeah.
I think we are a little bit more understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Like today, I spoke to my mom about the topic and stuff. I said, "Oh, today's topic is about mental health in African household."
When you told your mom that, we're doing this topic, what did she say?
I thought she was gonna react a little bit different, but
Yeah.
I was kind of, in a way, surprised. Not like, but
Valid.
I told her, I said, "Mom, today I'm doing a topic about mental health in African household," and she was like, "Oh, okay, that's good." And she gave me some kind of pointers, like about what's happening in Africa, how they view it, and here, and she was more open. She said anyway in a like time ago, said if you going through something, you should be able to talk to me. You should be able to open up and all that stuff. And I think for me, I'm not an opening up person. I don't really
Yeah.
open up and stuff. But the fact that my mom is always encouraging us to open up and stuff like that. But then, because my family is big in Africa, they view it in a different way. It's always seen as taboo. It's
Yeah.
always seen as something that's Western, not African. Like an African
Yeah.
man shouldn't really be suffering from mental health.
Yeah, because they think mental illnesses are like a white thing. Mental illnesses do not discriminate. I don't think when somebody is mentally ill, I don't think, the illness, let's say if it's schizophrenia or if it's depression or anxiety, be like, oh my God, you know what? They're black. I think I'm going to back off. It doesn't work that way. Everybody has mental health. Not everybody has a mental illness. This is why we have to implement these conversations in our households. So that's how I personally feel about it.
Yeah, true. But when it comes to community, our community, I think we're still silent. It's like a silent struggle.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't open up. They will never open up. I know a lot of men that will never open up. But I know that you're going through something. They will say something like a little bit, but deep down, I know.
But it's never. And when, like you said, when it comes to men, it's kind of like glazed over. It's never really gone in depth as to, oh, this is what I'm going. They'll just be like, yeah, man, like, life's like,
Yeah, I'm good. I'm straight.
Yeah, I'm all right. Like, sometimes I get stressed, but I'm just like, but there's something deeper than that.
Like you said something yesterday. Sometimes you be asking like a guy, "Oh, you're right." They'll be like, "What you on about?"
Yeah, because I'm currently doing a project on men's mental health. Because this is Men's Mental Health Month, and I decided to interview a few men, and this isn't something that I saw in the interviews, but just in general, when you ask a guy, how are you? Or how are you okay? And they'll be like, yeah, like, of course I'm okay. Like, what do you mean? Am I okay? Like, am I not okay? It's just kind of like, bro, you actually need help if that's the first instinct.
Yeah.
That's not how it should be, you know. But there's reasonings as to why these things happen. So that's kind of...
Yeah, true. Like in Africa, well, where I grew up and stuff, a lot of people, there was nothing, I never really knew anything about mental health until I came to the UK.
Yeah.
So when I was in Africa, when someone was mentally ill, they used to say, oh,
That person's mad.
Oh, yes, they've done like witchcraft on him and stuff like that. And that's like a big thing. They always say, oh, he's done like some witchcraft has been done on him. And also, sometimes there's like some educated people like that are highly educated, and people will see this person like with some mental illness. They'll be like, oh, it's just too much education. It's too much. It's very...
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's very nonsensical, because it's just kind of like, whether you're highly educated or you come from or you're extremely poor, mental illnesses are still going to get you, depending on your lifestyle and how you take care of your wellness. Then it's anybody can get it. But the thing is, in African communities, especially I'd say specifically Black African communities, it's so frowned upon. It's just kind of just, they'll say, why are you depressed? It's like depression. It's like mental illnesses do not exist. And it's a very uncomfortable conversation, because I always say, if I break my arm right now, you're not going to just say, pray it away. Or just, oh no, everything's going to be okay. You're going to tell me to go to the GP. Go to the GP, go to the ER immediately. Like, if my bones are sticking out, that's what's going to happen. But it's because they can't see it, they don't believe it. But that's part of having faith. I mean, that's a different conversation when it comes to faith and religion, because we tried to have this conversation. We're just like, we're going to have to change the topic. But it's just kind of like, just because you cannot see that somebody is depressed or that somebody is anxious doesn't mean they're not experiencing it. And unfortunately, they don't realize until it's too late.
It's too late, yeah. And obviously, there's consequences to that.
Absolutely.
Like, people end up paying the price of like whether you go into depression or end up, committing suicide and stuff. Which is in Africa, some countries as well, it's illegal to try and commit suicide.
I find that kind of laughable.
If you survive, if you try and commit suicide, and obviously you don't, you get arrested.
That's gonna give me an even more reason for me to end my life.
It's gonna give you more motivation, more.
Like that's motivation. Like, thank you very much. Like, what are you on about you're gonna get me arrested? Yeah. That's absolutely ridiculous. When somebody does that, they should be taken to the psych ward. But then again, we don't have that many psych wards in Africa.
No, not really. No. But as well, when I was young, I grew up around a lot of boys, and we were taught this thing, and I think almost every single man, they kind of grew up with this thing that was embedded in their head.
Yeah.
So there was like a situation. I was young, and it was just like some silly thing, and I wasn't really happy.
Yeah.
And I started crying.
Okay.
And my uncles were like, no.
Into
the aikal, meaning a man doesn't cry. When you grow up...
And how old were you when you heard that?
I was young, pretty young, like less than 10 years old. I was like really young. Like
You're a baby.
Yeah. So those things, they grew up, like when you grow up, like they're in your head.
Yep.
And you, even now, I know it's okay to cry. Mm-hmm. It's okay to share tears.
When was the last time you cried?
Don't ask me. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But there's been
I'm sorry. I know I'm laughing about it, but this is a serious thing. Men do not cry.
No, not really.
And the thing is, crying is such a... I'm a girl. I'm a woman. To be fair, I mean, if you ask me the last time I cried, 3 hours ago, because just due to stress, I've just been feeling high levels of stress. But I know that once I have, sometimes you just need a good cry to let it out.
Yeah.
But I feel like men should do that more. But also, I understand why men do not cry.
Yeah,
I get it.
It's just
because your uncles just looked at you like you're.
Yeah. Why are you crying?
Why are you crying? You're a man.
You're a
man up. Men do not cry.
Go out and hunt or something.
Yeah, go outside.
Go and play with the goats or whatever.
Do that.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, don't cry.
Those things like, oh, you'll be fine, you'll be okay. Sometimes, like, you're not gonna be okay, man. Like,
no.
what do you mean I'm gonna be okay? another thing as well is that like in Africa, I feel like mental health is different compared to here. Even though here we're a little bit more educated when it comes to mental health, but then at the same time, even though we know it's okay to open up, we're still not gonna open up.
That's the thing.
We're still not gonna cry. Like you were
No.
saying, you were asking me when was the last time I cried. I don't know, but there's been moments where I feel like my tears are gonna, about to come, but I'm like, there's just nothing. It's just dry, and
It's
I'm
uncomfortable.
like, yeah, and then I'm like, whoa, why are you crying, bro? But I was speaking to one of my boys not long ago. I was like really down,
Yeah.
and he's like, oh, bro, sometimes it's okay to just cry, man.
That is such a rare thing. That is such
It
a
is
blessing,
a rare
you
thing.
know.
It is, even though I knew what he said was very important and very it's okay to cry
cry.
sometimes. But I was like, I didn't say anything to him. I was like, yeah, I was agreeing with him. But then when I'm on my own, I'm like, crying.
Like,
That's long, man. Why am I crying for?
So then you just carry on with your life.
I'm like, it's just another day.
Sure. But that's the thing. You are a product of your environment. Even though I think the best thing about this is that you get to hear it from somebody else and just not yourself. So when somebody gives you that encouragement and gives you the safe space to do that, I think what you and I guess everybody else needs to implement is that when somebody says this stuff, at least you know that you can go back to them when you're having a hard time. Because when you hear it for the first time, it's just kind of like, yeah, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, but like you said, you're by yourself. It's just kind of like, I can't do that.
Because I've been taught to be strong, not to be vulnerable.
Because you're a man.
Man.
And
So I'm going to be strong. I'm going to try and be strong in front of people or even on my own sometimes. I'm like, man, it's just I'm a soldier.
Yeah.
But that mentality is wrong.
Yeah, 100%. I'm laughing because it's such a terrible way of thinking.
Yeah, and
it's a very
soldiers don't die.
Yeah, and like it's such an unhealthy way of thinking. But the thing is, men are taught to be strong. Men are taught to, just soldier on and keep going, and that's where African parents fail.
Yeah.
That's where African parents fail. When it comes to, we're going to talk about the women in a minute, but when it comes to African men, African parents fail because they're just maybe things are changing now, but it's like, it's just, how can I say this? When it comes to mental wellness and when it comes to mental illnesses, things that should be implemented in a household is how to regulate your feelings and emotions. Now, this is something that I've taught myself. It's a skill. I've been writing about mental health for the past 7 years now. So when it comes to like my feelings and emotions, I know how to regulate them. And I know when I need to step back or like the other time after filming, I was so upset all because I was hungry. And I was able to notice that I was like, oh my gosh, the podcast, I wasn't happy and all that kind of stuff. But I was just kind of like, you know what? I'm just hungry. I just need to eat something. Yeah. But some people are not able to recognize that because if it was something else, I would have just like sat with it and be uncomfortable. But it's just kind of like when it comes to the households that we have, whether it's your aunties, uncles, your guardians or whatever, you should have these conversations from young. Because if your uncle gave you a hug and told you like, you know what, it's okay to be upset, it's okay to cry, he could have given you a cuddle and after that you'd have felt better and let's say you could be like, okay, go outside and play.
Yeah, I think you just said something there that caught me, that you were able to notice your emotions.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes I feel like men, not all, maybe me or some other men, when it comes to noticing our emotions or differentiating our emotions, which, sometimes you'll be thinking, oh, you're really angry at something.
Yep.
But in reality, you're just anxious, something just not right. But then because you're always thinking about like your head, you're thinking like, I'm angry, you feel like you're angry, but really in reality, you're just not, you're just anxious, you're just down.
Yeah, because the thing is, when it comes to African households, African men are taught the most recognizable emotion is just anger. But emotions and the feelings, it's a whole spectrum. It's not just about being happy, and being sad. You could be excited, you could be nervous, you could be anxious, you could just be stressed. You could just be mad, you could just be hungry. Yeah. You could just be hunger. But then you be like, no, you're just so mad about it. But it's just kind of like, it's because that's all you know. And that's why we need to change the narrative. The parents of today, the parents that we're going to be, cost of living, I don't know if we're going to do that. But if you decide to be a parent from 2025 onwards, and you say, do you know what, I want to take care of these children, or I want to take care of my nieces and nephews, you have to have these conversations in your households. Because I'm sorry to be harsh, but if you're not having these conversations in your household, you're a terrible parent. If you're deciding to have children now, or if you have children now under the age of, I'd say 10 or something, teach them mental wellness, teach them how to regulate their emotions. And the thing is, this only happens, like when you go on TikTok and stuff, I see it from white families. I don't see it from black families as much. I'm seeing it a little bit more now, thankfully.
I think with the younger families, it's become a little bit better because we are knowledgeable, we know what mental health is, whereas the generation before us, they're a different breed.
they're very uncomfortable with this. It's almost like poking. It's, how can I say it? They are not open to talk about it because, like you said, it's not something that they know. And it does get to a point, because when these things are happening, you're just telling your sons, oh, just be strong, or you're just telling your daughters, oh, be quiet, be resilient, just be calm. Be tough. As a woman, as a man, be tough. As a woman, you have to be soft. You don't have to talk back. You don't have to say anything. I'm gonna say something. I'm talking back. I'm sorry. Sorry. I am saying something.
You're just gonna let it out.
And the thing is, I come from a very respectful household, thankfully, and my family is quite close, and this is something that I am very grateful for. But even with that, I still come from an African household. So there's certain standards that are on me without it being verbally said. It could be around family, or it's like when I went back home and my auntie was like, she wanted me to wear this like wrap, and it was just like, oh, if you have to. I was just like, no, I don't. Why? And the thing is, I actually questioned her as to why I should do that. Yeah. And she did not say anything. She could not give me a reason. But it's because she's grown up in an African household. And as an African woman, you just have to be all meek and shy. And there's nothing wrong with, okay, there is a lot of stuff wrong with it. I do not 100% agree with it.
No,
and you're not allowed to be yourself, especially if you have if you're like me and you have if you're such an expressive person, you're so bubbly and stuff. It's just kind of like, no, you need to calm down. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, true. And I think with young boys and young girls, there's always like the family, they always expect something from the girl and the boy. Like the boy is meant to be doing this, the girl is meant to be doing this, and just like sometimes that just puts pressure on the kids.
Yeah.
And the parents don't even realize that because they were born in a different generation where these things were just not normal. Mm-hmm. And now when we talk about these things, this mental health, I feel like we're not really doing enough. We're just talking about them in the podcast, on social media, but like when it comes to reality, we just don't do anything.
Yeah, because people are like, people are like, oh, be kind, talk about mental illness, but you do not give your friends the platform to do that. Yeah. I remember, these interviews that I've been doing with the men, one of them said that he kind of tried to open up to his friends in a group chat because they have some type of group chat. And he tried to open up and everybody laughed at him. And that made me so sad because it's just kind of like, it's not funny. When somebody's having a hard time, it's not a laughing matter.
It's not, But that's the boys, isn't it? That's how...
Oh, this is the last, this is how... No, man, I'm so sorry. It's so frustrating. It's very frustrating. And also like for women, for girls, you grow up being taught that, as an African woman, you clean the household, you take care of the kids, especially like, well, let's say if you have like
kids that are not even your kids.
The kids that are not your kids, you have to take care of this many siblings and or your nephews and your nieces and all that kind of stuff. And then when you grow up, because like I have one of my friends, she had to do that so much to the point where she's like, I do not want to have kids. Because she's been doing that since she was 16 years old. She's 27 now.
Yeah, you lost all your teenage years.
All your teenage years going to you, getting the kids ready, getting the kids to
school, doing school runs. You don't even have a kid.
She has
You're
to do
a kid
that.
yourself.
You're a kid yourself, and you have to go to college. I don't want to do that. And the thing is,
but that's so normal though in African households, in the diaspora.
But that's the thing. It should not be. And I fear that I don't know if I should say it might be too late, but I fear that we are the ones that would have to change the narrative.
I think we're the ones that are going to change it.
Exactly. We are the ones that change the narrative, because what's happening now is African kids, whether it's girls or boys, end up not talking to their parents.
Yeah, because they're going to say the same answer that they always give you.
Like you've been traumatized because like when your child or your daughter went to you and told you that they're depressed or they're anxious, you told them to rest. Just go and sleep. Everything's gonna be. What do you mean depressed? Oh, when I was your age,
I used to walk 20
20,000
miles.
I used to, first of all, that's child abuse. You should not have done
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I had to do this. I had to keep.
You had to do that. I don't have to do it.
Exactly. I do not have to do that. And I'm coming to you telling you my feelings and emotions. And you're basically saying that I don't matter. My feelings are not valid. My emotions are not
They don't
valid.
even know what feelings are.
That's the thing. Because it doesn't exist to them.
No.
They expect you to be happy 24/7. African parents expect you to be happy 24/7. And that would never happen. I'm a human being with feelings and emotions.
That's why we end up not talking to parents.
Yeah.
That's why we just
Like-
end up being still robots and
Yep.
just end up.
And if your children, I'm sorry to tell you this, but if your children do not talk to you, it's your fault. You failed as a parent. I'm gonna be the one to tell me, who's 28 with no kids. Thank you, Lord. You failed as a parent. If you gave your children, because you made the decision to say, the day that you said, let's have children, you have to think of everything that comes with it. It's not just about having a cute baby. It's not all. And you know the thing that frustrates me the most? What are people gonna say?
Yep.
What are people going to say? And then?
And then what?
Because when your child is 6 feet in the ground because they've committed suicide, are you going to be saying, oh, what will people say?
Now you start to run this charity organization in the name of
Yeah.
your kid.
Because, oh, no, I did not know. You did. You chose.
The signs were there. There's all the signs. But then you chose to ignore them.
You chose to ignore them because, oh, no, my child is okay. Everything's okay. Your child is not okay.
Yeah.
And for me, with somebody who has had mental health struggles with depression, anxiety, and chronic loneliness, I know exactly what it's like. I've had suicidal ideations. You may want to put trigger warning, but I've had suicidal ideations. I've planned my suicide. I've self-harmed. I even have scars, but I'm not going to show that on camera.
How did you overcome all that though?
How did I overcome my depression and anxiety?
Yeah.
By speaking to somebody about it. So I had a really bad episode. And then when that happened, I just I was helped. Somebody helped me. But then the next day I decided to go to the GP because this was after my suicide attempt. And I was just like, I'm going to go to the GP because this is insane. And they told me that I had to go to the ER. But the psychiatric nurse was so useless. I ended up going home. I was like, I'm going to take care of this myself. But thankfully, I was able to go to Zambia, the food, the people. I had so much fun that I forgot to commit suicide.
The community and everything.
Yeah. So I always tell people, because I wrote a blog about it, I tell people that I had so much fun when I went back home that I actually forgot to commit suicide. So when I came back, I was just like, I swear I was meant to do something. And now I feel better because of my surroundings, my friends. But the best thing is I have the right people around me to be open, And even actually I don't know if I could say this, but when I was in Zambia, because I took antidepressants as well. I've taken antidepressants before. And I had just gotten off them. And once you get off them, it can be very difficult. And I was in Zambia and I woke up and just my head wasn't right. I wasn't feeling great. And I was crying. I went to my parents' room and I kind of wanted to tell them how I was feeling, but I didn't know how to. So I just kind of like stood there and just started crying. And my dad was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? And I was just like, well, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. And he was like, oh, everything's going to be okay. He was like, go get your shoes on. Come with me. This is me at 27. Go get your shoes. Come with me. And I basically went shopping with my dad. And that was like the best thing because he saw that. Yeah. He recognized that something's wrong and he acted upon it. Because stop crying. Why are you crying?
What's that about?
What's that about?
All right, just to ask you a question then. So let's say for some people that are kind of going through the same thing that you went through and they can't afford to go to Zambia or go on a holiday in Africa or whatever, what do you think they should do or what measures do you think can be put in place for them to be able to open up or overcome whatever they're going through?
So you can start reading my blog first because I do write about mental health, wordsbymo.com.
I'll put a link in the description.
I think following the right accounts can help you, but also having people in real life and not be too dependent on people online. I know some people do not have the privilege of, having the right friends and all that kind of stuff. But it takes one person. It takes one person to be open. Talk to your family. Like if you are lucky enough to have family members that actually care, talk to them. Talk to whatever. If you're a person that believes in a higher power, do that. Some people it's just meditation. Take time to acknowledge your feelings and emotions. Say that, you know what, the moment that you acknowledge to say that I'm not okay, that's when you start to feel better. Because if you just carry on life and saying everything's going to be okay, everything is fine, you're going to burn out to the point where you will be in the situation that I was in. But I got lucky. I got blessed and lucky to get out of it. But it can be very hard. Being depressed, having anxiety, having a mental illness is probably one of the most painful things I've ever experienced in my life. But I was able to get out of it by acknowledging that I'm not okay first. You acknowledge, talk to the people. Talking helps. Just even saying that, even when you've had a bad day, just like, this is what happened at work and all that kind of stuff. Venting, yapping, because I'm a yapper, but just venting, talking about it helps. If you can go to like I know there's like Healthy Minds in the UK. Yeah. There's a few websites that can help you. You can call Samaritans as well if you feel like it's very, very, very bad. You can also text a number. We'll put it at the bottom. You can text a number that you can, because some people are not comfortable enough to talk about it. Some people do not want to verbalize it, but you can text a number that there's somebody at the end of the line that will talk to you. But acknowledging that you're not okay is the best place to start from.
For me, I think I tell some of my friends, I don't have a lot of friends, but the people that are close to me, sometimes I tell them that it is okay to go to therapy. Because I remember years ago, it's been years, I was really in the dark place. I was in a dark place. I was just not okay.
Yeah.
Just I couldn't talk to anyone. I couldn't tell my friends. I couldn't really. And I remember I
have a question. Why do you feel like you could not tell your friends?
Because it's just, I'm like, what are they going to say? There was just shame. There was just I was just not confident to kind of tell them.
Yeah.
But I think at that time I was in college and the lady that was my tutor at that time, whatever, I spoke to her. I told her, I was like, I'm just not, because I was just underperforming a little bit. And then she asked me what's going on. And then I told her that lately I just not been okay. I just been feeling a lot of just feeling down and stuff, and just I was starting to remember things that used to happen when I was young and stuff, nothing whatever crazy, but it can be simple things that will make you feel some type of way. And then she was like, okay, if you're feeling like that, maybe you should see a therapist. I was like, man, I didn't say this to her, but I just said it to myself, therapist, man, I'm black. Why should I go to
but seriously.
I'm like, why should I see a therapist?
As a black man.
Yeah, as a black man, I'm like, what's that about? But then I was like, you know what, maybe let me try it.
Yeah.
I didn't tell anyone. I went for months. And the first I would say maybe the first 3 or 4 sessions, I cried.
You see?
Really, really, when I say I cried, tears was just I was asking myself, why am I crying?
Yeah.
What's going on? But because I was able to offload everything I was feeling, I was just able, because I didn't know that person as well, so it was a bit easier for me to tell someone that I don't know. And as time went on, I started to feel a little bit better. I started to understand mental health and, all because I didn't really know what mental health was until the lady, she told me go see someone and stuff. I went to, I think it was a charity company, they were really good. After a few months, I felt better.
Yeah.
But I still didn't tell anyone. I still didn't tell my friends because I felt like if I tell them that I went to therapy, they'll be like, bro. I'll be like, come on, man. Why you go to therapy, man? You can just go to the gym. You can go play football. I don't go to the gym. I can't be asked with gym. I'm like, what's gym going to do? If I go to the gym, I'm still going to be feeling the same thing after. So I'm like, maybe.
Sorry, but that's the thing. A lot of, especially African men, actually use the gym for therapy. And going to the gym can be therapeutic.
It is for some people, yeah.
But like you said, going to a therapist was the best thing that helped you regulate your feelings and emotions. It's all about regulation.
Yeah.
The thing is, Black African men are taught to be strong, in the household. You have to be strong. but you're not taught to regulate your feelings and emotions.
No.
And then women are taught to be accepting of everything.
Everything, yeah.
And if you cry, why are you crying for?
Why cry,
Like,
yeah.
just get on with it. Or if you sleep, you're lazy. And it should not be that way. And I want to emphasize this. Therapy is not a white people thing. Hello? Therapy is not a white people thing. And this is why we need more African therapists as well.
Yeah. But there after, so this is another thing why maybe I've kind of stopped sharing as well. I still share, but to people around me. So anyway, and this happens to a lot of men as well, young men, or even not even young men. Like, so anyway, a few years later, I told someone that, oh, I went to therapy.
Yeah.
This, I was feeling this, and stuff like that. And then boom, one day, oh, you went to therapy, oh, you're a weak man, oh, when I met you, you used to go. I'm like, bro, I went to therapy way before I met you. But those things, like those sayings, or when someone says that, it just makes you close off.
Yeah, because
you like, what's the point? What was it? Because now you start to regret, why did I even tell that person? And if I tell that, the next person is going to be the same thing again. And then you end up not sharing with anyone, and you just like...
I'm so annoyed.
and you end up like, you know what? It is what it is. It's just me. It's just me against the world.
That's a very dangerous thing to do, because the thing is, you told that person years after. Imagine if you told the person in real time.
Yeah.
And then you'd, let's say, God forbid, you end up, completing suicide. And they're like, oh no, just I wish. Oh no. Hey?
What do you mean? Like,
What do you
I'm already
mean?
gone.
Like, the person's gone already. Like, you should give people flowers while they're alive, not when they're dead. You cannot be saying, I wish when the person was there, especially when it comes to mental illnesses, when it comes to mental health. I'm so sorry. There's no excuses as to why you should not be implementing these in your house, in your household.
Yeah.
And
I think as well, when men don't open up, a lot of things end up happening. They end up not showing love to their families, especially if they've got kids. They end up being miserable dads. They end up like, just some of them end up leaving the family, and the kids grow up with no dad, and also that it's an impact on the kids. It's like a generational thing now, from dad to the kids, and from the kids it just keeps going on.
Yeah, because then the mom is left with all the burdens and the trauma, and then it's just kind of like the mom is and the mom is seen as the bad guy, kind of like, oh, and also in African households they'll be like, oh, it's the wife's fault that he left.
Yeah.
And it's never that. It's because he just did not want to be open, because he was embarrassed.
Yeah, or whatever was going through his head.
He
wasn't able to fight it.
Because, exactly. But that's why we have to, if you're going to start if you're deciding to say that this is a person that I want to marry, this is the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. I'm saying this to all Africans. You have to put mental health in the equation. It's not just about having a massive wedding. It's not just about driving there in an Audi R8 V10 for me. It might be about that. But everything that you're put into consideration when it comes to being compatible, you also have to look at mental wellness. I always said to my friends that before I get married, I'm going to make sure that my husband has a psychiatric screening, and I'm so serious about that.
If he says no, then what?
That's it.
Game over.
Huh? That's it. Like, I'm not here to suffer.
Why is it easier for women to be more open up?
Because we created these safe spaces. We have these conversations. I can sit with my girls on FaceTime. We could be talking about Lord knows what, but then we'll be able to talk about our feelings and say, oh, this is what this. I've been feeling kind of. I did this 2 days ago, actually. I called one of my best friends who was talking, and I was just kind of like, oh, I've just been feeling so stressed, and I told her everything that's been going on, and she was able to listen to me. We talked about it, acknowledged it, and move on. And sometimes it's not even about giving advice. Sometimes you just need to be heard.
Yeah.
But you have to, for men, you have to get to a point where you're comfortable enough to open up. And for women, we also have to create this. I mean, women do create these safe spaces amongst ourselves, but this is something that men need to create in their own communities as well. Yeah. Because it's not the responsibility of women to take care of men.
No.
At
definitely.
The end of the day.
But how do you women face pressure? Because obviously you feel pressure different to men.
Yeah.
But how do you guys
manage it?
Yeah.
It comes down to, I mean, for me, I'm a person that, like I said, I regulate my thoughts, I regulate my feelings and emotions. We talk about, obviously, like writing it down. We go to all these conferences. We have small communities within our friendship groups that we end up going to, because when I feel stressed and when I feel too much pressure, I'll just sit with it myself and think, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like, I'll feel so like, oh my gosh, I'll be upset. I'll cry about it, but I'm not crying. Nothing helps. I'm just like, okay. So I just think of different ways as to how I'm going to regulate the pressure by putting things into small parts. This is something.
Where does that pressure come from?
The pressure can come from family. The pressure can come from within us. But this is why you have to be strong within yourself and not go with society standards, because you'll never win. You'll never be happy. If especially with the whole thing of, like I said, what will people think? People will always think what they want to think. Whether you're doing bad or good, somebody's going to do something. You may as well do what you want. As long as you're not harming yourself and you're not harming others, have that mindset that this is you have one life. Like I was telling you, I have 54 summers before I turn 80, right? 54 summers before I turn 80 years old. I'm going to turn up. I'm going to have fun in my own way. And turn up doesn't mean going to parties and all that kind of stuff. It could be anything. I love traveling. I like taking loads of solo trips. It could be that, But like I said, before you get to the point of fixing everything that you're going through, whether you're a man or woman, you have to acknowledge that you're not okay. The moment they acknowledge that you're not okay is when you start healing.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say.
I think for men, the pressure sometimes comes from within. So sometimes it can be self-pressure come from yourself. Sometimes I put myself under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people, sometimes they get pressure from family, from the community and stuff. There's always this pressure of being successful, like getting more money, working harder. And the more you work harder, your body pays the price. So
you'll be working 8, and that's the thing. Sorry to cut you off, but men will, because of this pressure that comes from within and from society. If we're going to be honest, you work yourself to the bone where you won't even be able to enjoy your money because your legs don't work.
Yeah.
You're mumbling. You're not able to. You've lost your speech because you're doing so much that your body is just tired. All the money that you have is for nothing.
Yeah. Because I remember there was a time as well, I was doing a 9 to 5, so I'll finish at 5 and then I'll go home, sleep for an hour. From that I'll go to a night shift, be up all night, and then in the morning I'll go home, sleep for an hour and a bit, or sometimes go straight to work.
Where's the enjoyment in that?
To a point where my body was actually shaking. And that was like, but I was under a lot of pressure, like, the pressure wasn't getting from anyone, it was just from me, because I was like, I need to pay the bills, I need to have money for this, I need to do this, So all that stuff, like, it was like, I'm just not where I want to be. I'm just like, I'm under a lot of pressure, but that pressure, like, you don't really realize it until you're like,
until your body tells you.
It's like, it's too late now. Or sometimes I'll chat to my boy, I'm like, I'm really tired, and he's like, bro, you gotta rest. But then sometimes I'll be speaking to some of my friends, they'll be like, I just finished work, I'm going to another job. But I understand why they're doing it. They've got bills to pay, they've got families, they've got all these things. They got no choice but to do it. But even though it's wrong, we've got this mentality as men sometimes that I gotta get this money one way or another. I have to work hard, because like sometimes some men, you see other men, they're getting a lot of respect because they've got money, they've got nice cars, they've got all these things, and you just
these men are addicts.
Yeah, and you're just driving like a beat up 2001 car, and you're like, I'm not there. I need to get there. I want that respect. I want to be on that level, whether it's like financially or whatever, because we're thinking financially. Once you're free financially, you're not gonna have all these emotional feelings and all that stuff. But then you're like, I need money.
Yeah. Like, listen, like I said in the previous episodes, and I'll probably say this in the next, I like the coin. The money loves me. We're in a committed relationship. Do you know what I mean? I love money. But you have to get to a point. No, before you even get to a point, you have to rest. Rest is very essential, because you do not want to get to a point where your body tells you that you need to rest.
Yeah.
Because when your body tells you that you need to rest, you won't be able to do anything.
Yeah. But how can communities create a safe space, or just like help someone through their mental health journey?
The church. Start from the churches, start from the masjids, the mosques, all these religious places. If we can have a whole Bible study on what's happening, or these stories that go to church and have Bible study. Sometimes the afternoon services maybe have the workshops about mental wellness, emotional wellness, and how we can regulate this, and also how we can implement our religion with our wellness.
Well, yeah.
So this is because most Africans anyway, are quite religious and spiritual.
Yeah.
So they're going to believe in that. Because you're told to pray away, but then that's used against you and you don't want to do that. So if you're going to be going to church and forcing your children to go to church, force the youth leaders to start talking about it.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of youth leaders or even church pastors, they don't really talk about all these mental health thing. I think I've only seen a few on YouTube. Most of them are like in America, but the African ones, no, they don't.
They'll tell you you've got demons.
You got demons. Let's pray for him.
Yeah, let's pray for him. That person has psychosis.
Yeah.
They need to see a psychiatrist.
But
Let's start there.
I think these churches should have like maybe local organization, mental health organization that they can refer some of these young girls, young boys to the therapy and just like talk to anyone, because God can use anyone. God can be using that therapist to heal you. You can go to church and then after church, or whether it's a Monday or Tuesday, you can go to a therapist, and that therapist can be sent by God.
Listen, therapy is the best thing that ever happened to me.
You can use both the church and therapy. You can pray and then go to therapy. You can pray before therapy or after therapy.
Collabo. They can work very well together, and they have. If they can work for me, and I've made it, and I've reached this far, and not completed suicide, and I'm happy. I've used religion. I've used therapy. I've used all the resources around me. So we should implement those.
What changes can African household make to support mental health?
Checking in with your children and noticing the changes that's happening, because a lot of young kids have a lot of pressure, because especially to do with social media as well. If your child is acting in a different manner, or if they're quote unquote misbehaving, it's not they're being naughty. Sometimes they could just be having a really hard time. Recognizing that and not hitting your children because they're being quote unquote naughty. If the child needs help, listen to them. You cannot just pick and choose when you want to parent. When your child is having a hard time and they've come to you, it takes a lot of courage. Listen to them, acknowledge them, and get them the help that they need. Because if you're somebody else, and also, before I say anything else, stop caring what other African people are going to say. People are going to speak no matter what you do. That's your child. That child is going to be with you for Lord knows how long. So we should start there. Have these conversations in the household. And also, hopefully, if you go to whatever religion that you belong to, have those conversations in your spiritual or religious sanctuaries. Yeah, what would you say about it? What would you change in African households when it comes to
I think we need to stop this thing of, you're a man, you shouldn't cry, or you're a girl, you should be doing this. We should have families that genuinely understand the mental health. They need to be they need to be taught mental health, because a lot of African people don't really know about mental health. They always think it's taboo, it's all this stuff. But we need to implement these services in the household, or have someone local or even a family member that knows a bit more about mental health, that can, like, when a kid is feeling down, they're able to open up. We need to be able to teach kids that it's okay not to be okay. I mean, I even asked you, what does that mean, okay, not to be okay? But we need to teach kids, we need to teach our generation that it is okay to cry, it is okay to feel, it is okay to
it's okay to be sad, it's okay to not be strong. It's
okay to have a bad day. It's a bad day,
Yeah.
So I think if our viewers enjoy this episode and they also got something to say, would really appreciate it.
Send it to your African parents.
Send it to
Send it to your African
Tell
parents.
them about mental health.
Yeah, let's see what they say. I'll give you a quid. Maybe cost of living. I'll give you £2 if they actually do love and care for you.
Yeah, because
in a way that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Because love and care, mental health is also about is part of loving and caring about your children. So share it, send it to your family members, send it to your parents, and hopefully this episode meant to you and can encourage you to open up to your friends, to your family, or even the people around you, and also encourage the local communities to be able to support people around, or people that are not okay, and stop judging people by their looks, or when you see someone is really down and you start judging them. Stop judging your friends, stop joking about mental health. It's a real thing. And I think it's been
a very
Informative.
informative and a little bit personal.
Yeah.
We're able to share our side of mental health, and hopefully the viewers can enjoy it and like, subscribe, and obviously share it to your friends and family. We would really appreciate it, as it helps us grow. And obviously, again, I'm with my co-host Mulenga, who's gonna say goodbye to our viewers.
Well, thank you for having us. Like, to conclude it, mental health is very, very important in our households. Everybody's life matters. Your life matters. My life matters. You are not alone. I promise you, there is absolutely somebody that's willing to listen to you. Thank you for having us. I've been your co-host, Mlenga Chola, and my co-host.
Chisomo.
Thank you very
We'll
much.
see you next time.
Bye.